It's been so long since we've had a meeting. Hope I remember how to do this.
Tom had to correct me yesterday. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, well, we all forget.
All right,
Yep.
John, you're all set. And then hold on 1 second.
Wait, are we live?
Yes. There you go.
Great, thank you, Sabrina. Okay, you mind scrolling down a little bit for me? Thank you. Okay, we'll call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. and welcome everyone. Hope everyone had a nice holiday and a happy new year. And for many of you, this is your first meeting, so I apologize for that, but eventually the world needed to start turning again. Let's do a quick roll call here. If you don't mind just acknowledging you're here by saying aye. Mrs. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Keegan?
Here.
Sirenides?
Serenides, here.
I said Sirenides. I know how to say your name.
Here.
Mr. Livingston?
Here.
Ms. Young? I don't think she's gonna be joining us soon. Ms. Shanahan?
Here.
Okay, and John Cuddy's, I'm here as well. Did I forget anyone? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
Mr. Keegan.
I think I said it. I'm sorry if I apologize. I always forget about you, Tom. Mr. Keegan?
Yeah, I'm here. You asked me earlier.
I did already, right? Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Getting old, but not that old yet.
Thank you, Lisa, for thinking of me.
I didn't see your picture. Sorry.
Okay, first
Nothing to
up,
see, trust me.
so first up, we have a public hearing on the draft PY 45 F19 consolidated annual performance and evaluation report. Sabrina, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Somebody just joined. Let me see. If you'd like to speak, please use the raise your hand function. We have a Mr. Steve Levine, but if you don't wish to speak and you're just listening in, don't raise your hand and you're all set. He's not raising his hand, and that's all we have, so.
Okay. All right, seeing that there's no one signed up to speak, I will now close the public hearing and move on to public participation. Maybe Mr. Levine would like to speak to that. Do you mind asking him again? Or if you can hear me, Mr. Levine, if you'd like to speak for public participation, please raise your virtual hand.
He's not raising his hand. I think he's just listening in.
Okay. All right, now we'll also close public participation. First order of business is the approval of the minutes of the December 3rd, 2020 meeting. Would someone like to move that?
I'll move it.
Who is that? Mr.
That was me.
Sirenides?
George, yes.
Okay. We're showing Mr. Seniors to move the minutes. I guess we'll do this the old fashioned way, seeing I can't see everyone. Mrs. Smith? All in favor of approving, we'll do this the old fashioned way. All in favor of approving the minutes from December 3rd, 2020, please signify yes by raising your hand. Abstentions? Noes? Let the record show the vote is unanimous. Great. Okay, moving on. And if you don't mind, Sabrina, just let me know if Darlene gets on, just so I can acknowledge her, please.
Will
All
do.
right. Thank you. And number 2, A, zoning regulations update, forward to the Common Council for its approval. The author, Mayor Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with TPUDC to update the zoning regulations in the amount not to exceed $190,040. And would someone like to move that?
I'll move it.
Ms. Smith? Okay, Steve, I believe this is your item and you'd like to speak to it. And Sabrina, if you don't mind, I guess you could take the agenda away for right now. Thank you.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing?
Very well.
Good. You'll probably recall that during the the update of the citywide plan, one of the kind of strong recommendations that came out of that process was the need to rewrite and redo the zoning regulations. They hadn't been really touched in probably, well over 20 years. They get piecemeal changes, often in response to the development of the day. And in many ways, the structure of those regulations is not the best written document in the world. It's very difficult to find things. There are items in scattered locations throughout the document, so you really have to search to see what is applicable to the project that you're working on at that moment in time. Obviously, we did the citywide plan over that has several recommendations on changes to land use and changes to different areas of the city. So now is a good time to start that process and really take a complete overhaul of the regulations. At the end of the day, our goal is to get a streamlined document that is much more user-friendly, much more searchable. We want to have it kind of, at the end of the day, we think there's a product that General Code offers that the city already has a long standing relationship with, where they offer a web-based platform and a map-based platform. So someone may want to do the traditional route of opening up the zoning regulations and slogging through page by page and section by section and looking for items, where somebody may, maybe they're a new homeowner or they're a realtor and they're looking to do some quick analysis, get some quick information. They can punch in the address for a particular property, and up will pop up all the zoning information that's applicable to that property. And ideally, as we move forward, we'd like to get that linked to all the city's mapping products that we're already rolling out, such as GIS, the tax assessor's data. So that way they can see, oh yeah, there was a permit in 1996 to put a pool in the backyard, and they can find out all the information related to that. So that's the direction we want to go. It obviously is not going to happen overnight. The zoning regulations rewrite itself is, it's an 18-month process by the time they start moving. As I referenced in the memo, I'm already working with the firm TPUDC to look at the East Norwalk TOD parking regulations and amenity bonuses, which I had a pretty lengthy discussion with this group on a couple months back. So that's going to be their first task as a separate purchase order. So hopefully they'll be starting on that next week, and then we can start working on those individual regulations. We chose the firm for a couple of reasons. There was another firm that we were also pretty high on, but what struck us about TPUDC was really their public outreach recommendations and things that they said that they would really focus on. And then that was backed up by the reference checks that we made. I called 3 different municipalities from New York to New Hampshire, all had good things to say about TPUDC, and really said the outreach at public meetings was really good. And they, there were several times that they went into meetings where they thought things were going to be contentious, but by the end of the process, people were very pleased at the outcome and the outreach, and felt that they were heard, weren't ignored. So we're hoping for this similar kind of outcome, as part of our process.
Steve, what involvement will the zoning commission have on this?
The zoning commission is going to be overseeing the whole process. So, the staff is probably going to be dealing with the day-to-day, minutia of things, but the zoning commission is taking the lead on this. They'll be the client, as you will, for this process.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Livingston?
Yeah, thank you. Steve, how does this relate to the zoning efforts you've done, rezoning efforts you've done around the city in the last couple of years? I think you did one, and well, certainly you've done the TOD districts and Wall Street, and I think you're doing the industrial zones. So how does this fit with that?
So the industrial zone study will probably be done, maybe a third of the halfway through the zoning rewrites process. So I would imagine any recommendations that come out of that study, particularly ones that, we're keen to act on, will get moved before the zoning regulations process is complete, but it won't be done in a vacuum. They're aware of that study, and, the consultants that are working on the industrial zone study are also aware we're looking at zoning. So that information will feed directly into it. We're getting a fresh set of eyes on things. I don't know if they'll have drastic recommendations on changes for South Norwalk or for the Wall Street West Ave area. There may be changes in terms of, one of the things that they've talked about is maybe we'll all look at things like form-based code, which is a little bit different. Right now, we've moved to a hybrid model that I think for the most part works fairly well. And we're always looking to streamline and improve that. So we'll evaluate that. And at the end of the day, we're going to, put the best product out there for the city in the long run.
So they're going to look at everything, the whole city, even stuff we've done recently.
Correct. Yeah. And they'll, even the stuff we've done recently, that was done to fit into the way that the existing regulations are structured. So there's things in there, even though I think the overall product is improved, it could be still further improved and further streamlined.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
So Steve, they're going to make, the zoning commission's going to, TPUDC are going to make the recommendations. That's going to go to the zoning commission and then for approval. Is that pretty much the way this is going to roll out?
Right. So it would act, at the end of the day, it'll function just like any other change that we make to the zoning regulations, where the zoning commission has to hold public hearings. They're required to refer it to the planning commission, who needs to make a finding that the proposed changes to the regulations, and there are also going to be changes to the zoning map as well, because that's kind of got some issues too. So whatever those changes are, ideally we'll move it as one package, and the planning commission has to make a finding that the proposed changes are consistent with the citywide plan.
So we're just approving the money. That's the only part of this process we have.
Correct. I'm happy to come back and, update you on whatever regular basis you want to establish to let you know what they're thinking. There'll be times during the process where there's not a lot going on, where there's a whole series of things related to the actual writing of the code. And that's just kind of a lot of slogging and, working on English, making sure what's proposed is correct. But when there's significant changes to zoning boundaries or jurisdictions, I'm happy to update you on, some of the things that the zoning commission is thinking and where we're at with the overall conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I would like a red line copy of, what changes were made after this is all said and done. And yeah, even better, even during the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will be a completely brand new document that will be I hope to shave 100 pages out of the book, because it'll be hopefully less wordy. We'll have more graphs and pictures, and it'll be a little more user-friendly.
Questions? Ms. Shannon?
Is there, Steve, a way that each of us can be alerted to some of the changes that might be coming to our specific districts? I mean, as this goes on, it might be something that's very interesting to our constituents.
Let me think about that. I mean, we haven't established the public participation process yet, so that's something to think about. So yeah, we definitely can add something like that and figure that logistics out.
I think we'd
mean,
really like to have some notice.
Sure.
To Lisa's point, I mean, how significant are these changes? I mean, like I know with the POCD, obviously we did, neighborhood by neighborhood public outreach. So I guess, what kind of changes are we looking at? Like significant changes?
I mean, it's hard to say because we really haven't started yet, but there are going to be areas that, some of them may be subtle, but there'll be changes to the zoning map, because there's certain areas, like there's some zoning boundaries that I think are obsolete. So, on paper, it may seem more significant than having direct impact on any one area or any person. I got to see where it goes first to, further answer that question, though, I think.
Yeah. So Cranberry isn't going to become the new urban core. Just kidding.
We hadn't thought about that, but we will put that under consideration.
What's the timeline?
So, I'm on council's agenda next week for their approval. So as soon as that's done, it's just a matter of getting the contract through the law department, and then they'll be ready to go. So probably, hopefully sometime in February.
I'm talking about, when do you think these recommendations will be presented to the zoning commission?
Well, they'll be working on them right along. So, it's a question of when they get the bigger picture items down. It's hard to say. We're at least 6 months away from probably anything substantial, I would think.
Great. Any other questions for Steve? No? Okay, great. Yeah, I know, Steve, you've been working on this for quite some time. I'm glad to see it's finally at the point where we're voting on it and it's moving forward. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Sure.
Okay, I guess we got a call for a vote right now. So seeing I got pictures of everyone, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, George, unanimous, great. Thank you, Steve.
All right, thank you for your time.
All right, item 2B, Community Development Block Grant. Item number 1, advance the PY 45 CAPER to the Common Council for its approval and authorization for the mayor to execute all forwarding documentation required by HUD. Would someone like to move this? Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Okay, is it Brian, are you gonna speak to this, or Sabrina?
Yeah, I can speak to this.
How you doing, Brian?
Good. How are you? Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Nice to see you all. So what we have before you tonight is a administrative item regarding our management of the CDBG program on behalf of the city. Obviously listed as the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. Effectively, this is
Can I
our-
cut you off, Brian? I'm sorry. Sabrina, I just got a text from Darlene. She says she's on, but as a listener. I don't know if you can switch her over to a participant. Oh, there she is. And let the record show Ms. Young has joined us at 7:21. All right, please proceed, Brian.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, so it's referred to as the CAPER, and effectively what it is, it's our report card on how we've spent the money and what impact it's had on the community. This is for last year, so this is the period running from July 1 to June 30th, where the city made a little bit over $1 million in funds available of its community development block grant program. What we're tasked to do is sort of evaluate how many people were served as a result of these funds being deployed into the community, in relation to sort of our expected at the beginning of our action planning period and also our 5-year consolidated plan. So to that end, this CAPER identified over 1,200 people had benefited from the services provided by the CDBG grants who have all authorized over the past year, helping out with 3 public facilities and a number of housing rehab projects that are done through our residential rehab program. In the memo that's provided to you, you sort of see the relational data regarding how what we sort of expected to help at the beginning and what was actually implemented as a result of these funds. And a lot of that is just based on shifting need that occurs as we administer these funds, or additional impact we're able to do as a result of management of this program. So again, it's more of an administrative item. It just requires authorization of this body and then of course the Common Council for us to send to HUD for a final approval. So I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Any questions, Mr. Livingston?
Thank you. Hey, Brian. So this is the last year of the 5-year plan here, right?
Yeah, but we've adopted a new comp plan, so it's going to be circulating back.
Well, I guess my question, because I was looking at this and, we give percentages of our goals achieved, and I'm just, did we meet our goals? And do we have to do anything for those goals that we didn't meet? Or, I mean, it's just hard to tell when you're looking at 1 year out of a 5-year plan and then looking at percentages.
Right. Yeah, and I think part of it is it's estimated at front, so we're kind of comparing it relationally internal to the document. But in terms of meeting the goals, yes, we met the goals in terms of the spending and deploying the funds in accordance with the HUD guidance. I think that's the key point there.
That's the key point. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Any questions? I know I saw a draft agenda today for the next council meeting. I only did see Mr. Kleppin's item. I did not see this item. So if this does pass tonight, Brian, can you just make sure that you get that over to the appropriate folks in the mayor's office to get this on the agenda?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
John, just to clarify, they have a public comment period that doesn't expire until after the next meeting. So it'll be at the second council meeting this month.
It wasn't on the draft agenda. Okay. Disregard that, Brian. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Darlene, are you there? You said aye?
Aye, yes.
Okay. Let the record show that is unanimous. Wow, that was a quick one. I appreciate everyone taking the time. Now you can all go have some dinner and enjoy the rest of your night. And do I have a motion to adjourn? All right, don't all step up. All right, Mr.
John,
Yes, ma'am.
and this could even be, I don't know if I can say off the record. I just want everybody to know that I have another committee meeting before this committee meeting, and I'm always playing catch up. It's not that I'm being disrespectful with my time getting here. I just wanted you all to know that.
You're forgiven,
sorry.
Darlene.
I'm trying to
There's too little
get
Darlene
rid
for
of
the
the
world.
energy, but it's the stuff.
No hard feelings.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Thank you,
not enough-
everybody. Have a
There's
good
not
night.
enough Darlene for the world. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Happy New
night.
Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.